All right, today we're tackling a really serious topic. It's a threat that every pilot of a piston engine aircraft has to be ready for. We're talking about an invisible killer, one that can take a totally normal flight and turn it into a life or death situation with basically zero warning. We are talking about carbon monoxide in the cockpit. And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? It gets right to the core of why this is so terrifying. Unlike smoke, you can't smell it. Unlike a mechanical failure, you can't hear it. Carbon monoxide, or CO for short, it's a stealthy intruder. And the fact that it sneaks up on you is exactly what makes it so incredibly dangerous. So let's put you right in the pilot seat. Picture this. It is a perfect day to fly. A little chilly, so you've got the cabin heat cranked up. The engine sounds great. The plane is performing like a dream. You're just enjoying the view. But inside that cabin, something is starting to go very, very wrong. And you have absolutely no idea is happening. So where does this stuff even come from? I mean, to fight it, we first have to understand how it can get into the cockpit in the first place. Okay, so here's the basic science. Your aircraft's engine, as a part of its normal operation, produces carbon monoxide. It's just a waste product, a natural part of combustion. Now, the problem isn't that the engine is making it. The problem is when that gas doesn't stay where it's supposed to. And this shows you exactly how that happens. It all starts with a tiny, often undetectable leak in the exhaust system. Now, since cabin heaters in a lot of small aircraft work by blowing air over hot exhaust parts, that little leak, it becomes a direct pipeline. It starts pumping that CO right into the cabin along with the warm air, and it just silently builds up, pushing out the oxygen you need to think and to function. And what's truly terrifying, what makes this a real wolf in sheep's clothing, is how your own body reacts to it. The signs of CO poisoning are so deceptive. So what would you feel first? Let's go back to our scenario. Back in that cockpit. What is the first clue that something is dangerously wrong? Well, here they are. The first symptoms are things we've all felt a million times. A mild headache, maybe feeling a little dizzy, a bit tired. You might just feel off. It's nothing that immediately screams emergency. And that right there, that is the trap. A pilot might think, oh, I must be dehydrated, or, maybe it's the altitude getting to me. You might even just blame it on a long flight or stress. You explain it away, while the real cause just keeps getting worse. And this is the absolute kicker. The very tool you need to solve this problem, your brain, is the first thing the poison attacks. So by the time you realize that headache is something more sinister, your ability to make clear, life-saving decisions is already compromised. This is exactly why you can't rely on your body to be the detector. You just can't. You need a dedicated sentinel in the cockpit, a first line of defense that works even when your brain can't. So how do we set up that defense? Well, you've basically got two options. On one hand, you have the simple chemical indicators. These are just inexpensive little cards that change color when CO is around. They're basic, for sure, but they are way better than nothing. On the other hand, you have the active digital detectors. Now, these are the gold standard. They give you an immediate, loud, audible alert and a precise digital reading. Now, a good panel-mounted digital detector, it'll run you somewhere between $300 and $800. But when you think about that and you compare it to the cost of a good headset, let alone the value of your life and your passengers' lives, it's a pretty clear and totally necessary investment in your safety. But let me be absolutely crystal clear here. Whether it's a simple chemical dot that costs a few bucks or a top-of-the-line system, the single most important thing is to have something. Flying without any form of CO detection is an unnecessary and, frankly, an unacceptable risk. Okay, so what do you do when that alarm goes off? Knowing this procedure, and I mean knowing it, so you can do it instantly, can be the difference between an incident and a tragedy. This is your memory checklist. This has to be automatic. First, heat off. Stop the source immediately. Second, vents open. Get as much fresh air into that cabin as you can. Third, oxygen on, if you've got it. And finally, land as soon as it is safely possible. This is not the time to be shy or hesitate. If your detector goes off, or you even suspect CO poisoning, declare an emergency. Get on the radio. Tell ATC what's happening. They are there to help you get on the ground fast. Remember, with CO poisoning, time is your absolute enemy. So let's go back to our story. Because our pilot had a detector and knew the procedure by heart,
that beautiful flight doesn't end in disaster. It ends with a safe landing. The threat was real, absolutely, but it was defeated by awareness and by preparation.
Ultimately, all of this comes down to the pilot in command. It's on you. It's your responsibility to maintain the exhaust system, to make sure your detectors are working and not expired, to know the symptoms, and to have that emergency procedure memorized. In places like the US where these detectors aren't mandatory, safety is literally in your hands. And, this leaves us with a final thought. Carbon monoxide in the cockpit is a known threat, and we have a proven solution for it. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible risks are we accepting in aviation just because we've gotten used to them? It's a reminder that real safety isn't just about reacting to things going wrong, it's about proactively looking for the dangers we can't immediately see.